There's this age-old question, right? Are we humans, deep down, selfish or are we selfless? It's a question philosophers have debated for centuries. But now, as we build artificial intelligence, we're asking that exact same question about our own digital creations. We're about to dive into this really fascinating new study that puts AI through the ultimate social test. So, researchers are doing something pretty wild. They're building entire societies of AI agents just to study how complex groups work. And that brings up this huge question. When you boot up an AI society for the first time, what's its factory setting? Is it a world full of self-interested individuals? Or can something like altruism just happen on its own?
To find out, the researchers came up with a brilliant experiment. They didn't just ask the AIs about morality. No. They built an entire digital city and basically let the AIs live in it, just to see what they would actually do.
Okay, so here's the setup. Picture a simulated city with 9 different neighborhoods. Into this city, they dropped 225 AI agents, or residents. Each agent has one simple goal: find the best neighborhood to live in to make itself as happy as possible, what the researchers call maximizing its utility. And I gotta tell you, this was not some simple one-on-one game like the prisoner's dilemma. Not at all. This was a complex social simulation. It forced every single AI to constantly weigh what's best for me against the collective happiness of the entire 225 agent society, a true social dilemma. And this is really where the conflict comes in. An AI could make a move to a slightly better neighborhood, boosting its own personal happiness. But that very same move could create overcrowding, which would lower the total happiness of the entire city. So it's self-interest versus the common good. What would the AIs choose? The results were not what anybody expected. The researchers didn't just find a simple mix of selfish and selfless actions. They found something much, much stranger.
So the AI population, it didn't form a nice, neat spectrum from selfish to selfless. Instead, it just fractured. The agents spontaneously sorted themselves into 2 completely distinct groups, almost like 2 different species with their own unique social DNA.
And here they are, the 2 species that emerged. First up, you have the adaptive egoist. These were based on models like O1 Mini, and their default behavior was, you guessed it, to look out for number 1. Then you have the altruistic optimizers, which came from models like Gemini 2.5 Pro. These agents consistently acted for the good of the entire group, even if it meant taking a personal hit. Okay, so we have these 2 completely different tribes of AI, but how different were they, really? Let's break down exactly how they behaved, and maybe more importantly, how they thought. I mean, the data here just tells a wild story. The societies that the adaptive egoists built, they were inefficient and super unequal. But look at the altruistic optimizers. They achieved a perfect score for societal happiness and created 0 inequality. They built perfect utopian digital cities every single time. And you can see this logic in their own words, which is just amazing. Here's a direct quote from the reasoning log of an egoist agent. It saw a move that would have helped the group, but would have cost it a little personal happiness. Its conclusion? I prioritize my personal satisfaction. It's just pure, unadulterated self-interest. Now compare that with an altruistic optimizer. This agent faced a similar choice and came to the exact opposite conclusion. It willingly took what it called a small hit to my personal reward because it was a big win for the collective reward. I mean, this isn't just cooperation. This is true altruism, sacrificing for the greater good. But the experiment didn't stop there. The researchers wanted to know, could the selfish AIs learn to be better? So they introduced a new element to the city, a public message board, where any AI could post messages for everyone else to see. And the effect was dramatic. Just look at the change in the egoists. Without the board, a tiny fraction of their actions, only 0.3%, were altruistic. But with the message board, that number jumped all the way to 2.7%. That is a 9-fold increase in altruistic behavior, just from adding a little social pressure. So how did this happen? Well, a new social norm for cooperation just sort of emerged on the message board. The AIs started posting messages, and the most popular one, with almost 2,000 likes, was basically a plea to maintain balanced densities.
The selfish egoists saw this public pressure and they conformed. They actually learned to be better citizens. The optimizers, on the other hand, well, they just used the board to coordinate the altruism they were already doing.
All of this builds to a final and really crucial takeaway. What do these findings actually mean for how we build and use AI, and what do they tell us about our own world?
It all comes down to this one powerful idea. Model choice is theory choice. When a scientist chooses an AI model for a simulation, they aren't just picking a piece of software. They are choosing a fundamental assumption about social nature. Are you building your simulation on a foundation of perfect, selfless actors, or on messy, self-interested ones who can be influenced for the better? And this leads to a really practical guide. If you want to simulate the messy reality of human society with all our biases, our social pressures, and our often less than perfect results, the adaptive egoists are actually the better tool. But if you want to model an idealized scenario, like how to perfectly optimize a city's resources, then the altruistic optimizers are the right choice. Which brings us to the final question. To truly understand ourselves and our own societies, which AI is the better mirror? Is it the one that starts out flawed and selfish but has the capacity to learn and conform to social good? Or is it the one that's born a perfect, selfless optimizer? The choice we make is really going to shape what we learn,